Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kante Radha Kante Namostute Tapte Kanchan Gorangi Radhe Vrindaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chev Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. बोलो श्री राधे गोलोकानंद भगवान की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की
जय।
हरे कृष्णा
everybody.
जी हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्णा निशा
हरे कृष्णा
तो हरे कृष्णा रीना जी
हरे कृष्णा भैया हरे कृष्णा एवरीवन
हरे कृष्णा शिवा प्रभु
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Rina, you are back from your travel. आप बाहर गए थे ना रीना जी? आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही।
हमसे पूछना भैया।
हाँ बोला आप बाहर गए थे ना, यू आर ट्रेवलिंग राइट?
हाँ जी, लास्ट वीक पूरे वीक के लिए हम लोग गए थे बाहर, संडे को आए।
अच्छा अच्छा, ठीक हो गया ट्रिप?
हाँ बढ़िया ट्रिप था, थैंक यू।
ठीक है, तो हम लोग we completed the 13th chapter last week of 8th canto. तो हम 8वें स्कंद के 13 अध्याय कंप्लीट कर चुके हैं और 14th अध्याय आज पढ़ेंगे। और लास्ट अध्याय में हम लोग पढ़ रहे थे मनुवंतर के बारे में। परीक्षित महाराज सुखदेव गोस्वामी जी को फ्यूचर के मनुवंतर और मनु अवतार के बारे में पूछ रहे थे। और जैसा कि हम लोगों ने पढ़ा, even the names of the future manus have been provided, and not only the manus, उसके साथ साथ में who will be Indradev, what incarnation Lord Vishnu will have, even those things are described. And in this kalp which is one day of Lord Brahma, 14 manus are there, and those manus were described, right? And so now we'll start reading 14th chapter, which is about system of universal management. How this whole system is working, right, is what is mentioned in this adhyay. So we'll start with shlok first, 14th chapter. Anil.
Shri Rajovacha Manvantareshu Bhagavanyata Manda Dadesvame Yasmin Karmani Yena Niyuktasta Dodasvame. Maharaja Parikshit inquired, O most opulent Sukdev Goswami, please explain to me how Manu and the others in each Manvantar are engaged in their respective duties and by whose order they are so engaged. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Parikshit Maharaj पूछे सुखदेव गोस्वामी जी को कि how this whole thing is working. Yeah. Yasmin Karmani Yena. Right. Who is engaging all these manus, yeah, into their respective duties is the question which Parikshit Maharaj is asking. Yeah. Shwaran Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Shri Rishiruvacha Manvo Manuputrascha Manyushacha Mahipate Indraha Surganashcheva Sarve Purushasana. Sukadev Goswami said, the Manus, the sons of Manu, the great sages, the Indras and all the demigods, O king, are appointed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his various incarnations, such as Yagna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. So basically, all these things are appointed by none other than Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, and is all different incarnations. And as we remember, we read about the Yagna incarnation, right?
Mhm.
In previous adhyas, right? Is Yagna avatar is Yagneshwar avatar of Lord Vishnu from Shambhu Manu, right? The first Manu name is Shambhu Manu, right? And if you know, we remember Shambhu Manu had two daughters, yeah, Devahuti and Akuti, yeah. And we read about how Devahuti got married to Kardam Muni, and then they had a son, Kapil Dev, right? Kapil Muni, who was again incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and Akuti and Ruchi Rishi had a son named Yagna, who was none other than the incarnation of Lord Vishnu himself. But what is being really mentioned is this is now in various incarnations, and Purusha Sashana hai, right? How Supreme Personality of Godhead appoints different personalities in different roles. Ajay?
यज्ञादयोः याः कथिताः पौरुष धयस्तनवो नृप मन्वादयो जगच्छात्रां नयन्धाभिः प्रचोदिताः. O King, I have already described you the various incarnations of the Lord, such as Yagna, the Manus, and other chosen by the incarnations, under whose direction they conduct the universal affairs. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
चतुर्युगान्ते कालेन ग्रस्ताञ्चति गणान्यथा तपसा ऋषयो पश्यन्त्यो धर्मः सनातनः. At the end of every 4 yugas, the great saintly persons, upon seeing that eternal occupational duties of mankind have been misused, re-established the principles of religion. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, the important thing is like every end of every 4 yugas, right? Chatur Yuga Ante. Yeah, Chatur Yuga Ante Kalen. And we all know the 4 yugas, right? Which are the 4 yugas?
सतयुग त्रेता द्वापर कलयुग.
Right, yeah. Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. Those are the 4 yugas. Each is a 1 yuga cycle. And as we know, there are 71 yuga cycles in one Manu's avatar, right? One Manu Manta. And what is being mentioned is as the time progresses, the eternal occupational duty of mankind gets misused. Yeah. And then those like Tapsa Rishyo, yeah. And what do? Dharma Sanatana. They again reestablish the principles of religion. So very interestingly, this is being mentioned here. In the purport, Rinaji.
In this verse, the words Dharma and Sanatana are very important. Sanatan means eternal and Dharma means occupational duties. From Satyug to Kali Yuga, the principles of religion and occupational duty gradually deteriorate. In Satyug, the religious principles are observed in full without deviation. In Treta Yuga, however, these principles are somewhat neglected and only 3/4 of the religious duties continue. In Dwapar Yuga, only half of the religious principles continue, and in Kali Yuga, only 1/4 of the religious principles, which gradually disappear. Hold on, Bhaiya, just 1 second, please. Sorry about that. At the end of Kali Yuga, the principles of religion or the occupational duties of humanity are almost lost. Indeed, in this Kali Yuga, we have passed through only 5,000 years, yet the decline of Sanatan Dharma is very prominent. The duty of saintly persons, therefore, is to take up seriously the cause of Sanatan Dharma and try to re-establish it for the benefit of the entire humanity. human society. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So what is being mentioned here, and this is how it's planned, right? From Satyug to Kaliyug, Satyug, you will see like people will live 100,000 years, right? Expected age in Satyug is 100,000 years, right? And the religious principles are observed in full without deviation. And then in Treta Yuga, it becomes 3/4. Expected age is 10,000 years. And then in Dwapar Yuga, only half of the religious principles continue. And then as we have read, expected age is 1,000 years. And in Kali Yuga, only 1/4 of the principles remain, and which also deteriorate. That's why we are seeing all those activities, right? So we see so many activities which are taking place, right, every day and night. And so the religious principles gradually disappear, and the expected age in Kali Yuga is how much?
1/4.
1/4 is the religious principles, right? The expected age of a human being in Kali Yuga is 100 years, expected. I mean, again, no, very few people live 100 years, right? But that's an expected age. So it's 100 in Kali Yuga, 1,000 in Dwapar Yuga, 10,000 in Treta Yuga, 100,000 in Satyuga. That's why, when we read like, oh, this Rishi was doing meditation for 100,000 years. So all these things are not just numbers, right? Those are the true numbers, right? Because that's in those yugas, that's how long was the expected age, right? And so, of course, and our religion, even though Hindu religion the name has come from somewhere, but really our religion is the Sanatan Dharma, right? Is what we call as Sanatan Dharma, which means eternal. It's always there, right? So, continue reading, Anilji.
The Krishna consciousness movement has been started according to this principle, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 12.3.51. Kalar dosa nidhe rajan astihi eko mahan guna kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha param brajet. The entire Kali Yuga is full of faults. It is like an unlimited ocean of faults, but the Krishna consciousness movement is very authorized. Therefore, following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who 500 years ago inaugurated the movement of Sankirtan, Krishna Kirtan, we are trying to introduce this movement according to superior orders all over the world. Now, if the inaugurators of this movement strictly follow the regulative principles and spread this movement for the benefit of all human society, they will certainly usher in a new way of life by re-establishing Sanatana Dharma, the eternal occupational duties of humanity. The eternal occupational duty of the human being is to serve Krishna. Jivera Sarupa Haya Krishnera Nitya Dasa. This is the purport of Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means Nitya or eternal, and Krishna Dasa means servant of Krishna. The eternal occupational duty of the human being is to serve Krishna. This is the sum and substance of the Krishna consciousness movement. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And what is being mentioned here, the important part is, this is also mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, 12th canto. We are not there yet in 12th canto. How many cantos are there in Srimad Bhagavatam? How many skans?
18.
No, the books, the number of books,
Or
right?
12.
12, right? So 18th is the Adhyaya in Bhagavad Gita. Right? Srimad Bhagavatam has 12 books, 12 cantos, and 18,000 shlokas, as we know, right? So what is being mentioned in the 12th canto, which we have not come to yet, right? We'll get there at some point. In 12th canto, it's mentioned that Kalera dosha nidhe Rajan. Yeah? Like in Kali Yuga, Rajan is, of course, addressing to Parikshit Maharaj, dosha nidhe, like everything is full of faults in Kali Yuga. Yeah? And basically then what is being mentioned is Kirtanad Iv Krishnasya. Yeah? The Krishna Kirtan is what going to happen? Mukta Sangha Param Vijay. Like that will be the way to get out of the Kali Yuga, basically, what is being mentioned. And Swami Prabhupada is, of course, saying that that's what they are following. Krishna conscious movement is essentially following Kirtana, Krishna Shri. Sharon Prabhu?
Yeah. Tato dharma chatuspadam manvo harino dita yukta sacharayanta yada sway kale mahinrapa. Thereafter, O king, the Manus, being fully engaged according to the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, directly re-establish the principles of occupational duty in its full four parts. Hare Krishna.
Nisha?
पालयन्ति प्रजापाला यावदन्त विभागशः यज्ञभागभुजो देवा ये च तत्रान्विताश्चित्ते. To enjoy the results of sacrifices, yajnas, the rulers of the world, namely the sons and the grandsons of Manu, discharge the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead until the end of Manu's reign. The demigods also share the results of these sacrifices. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Indro Bhagavata Dattam Trailokyashriya Murjitam Bhunjanah Pati Lokan Strin Kamam Loke Pravarshati. Indra, king of heaven, receiving benedictions from the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus enjoying highly developed opulences, maintains the living entities all over the three worlds by pouring sufficient rain on all the planets. Hare Krishna.
Jnanam chanuyugam brute Hariya Siddha Swarupa Pridhat Rishi Rupa Dhara Karma Yogam Yogesha Rupa Dhrika. In every yuga, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, assumes the form of Siddhas, such as Sanak, to preach transcendental knowledge. He assumes the form of great saintly persons, such as Yagnavalkya, to teach the way of karma. And he assumes the form of great yogis, such as Dattatreya, to teach the system of mystic yoga. Right? So, Sukdev Goswami is telling this to Parikshit Maharaj, right? He's answering question of Parikshit Maharaj, how the whole world runs. And what Sukdev Goswami is saying is, in all these different yugas, like Jnanam, Siddha Swarup, Rishi Rup Dhara, Karma Yogam, Yogesh Rup, right? In different groups, Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, right? And assumes different roles. And a nice purport, let's read it. Shivanand Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. For the benefit of all human society, not only does the Lord assume the form of Manu as an incarnation to rule the universe properly, but he also assumes the forms of a teacher, yogi, jnani, and so on for the benefit of human society. The duty of human society, therefore, is to accept the path of action enunciated by the Supreme Lord. In the present age, the sum and substance of all Vedic knowledge is to be found in Bhagavad Gita, which is personally taught by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the same Supreme Godhead, assuming the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, expands the teachings of Bhagavad Gita all over the world. In other words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is so kind and merciful to human society that he is always anxious to take the fallen souls back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so many important things mentioned here, right? Like we are all conditioned souls, right? We all know we are going through this birth, death, old age, disease, all those things, right? But what is being mentioned is the Lord is very kind, right? Karuna Sindhu, Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu. He always wants us to take back home, back to Godhead, right? And that's the message we can read now in Bhagavad Gita, right? Bhagavad Gita spoken by Supreme Personality of Godhead himself in terms of how we can do our devotional service and how we can get back to Godhead, right? So those teachings are given to us by the Supreme Lord himself, is what is mentioned. Anilji?
Yeah. Sargam Prajesha Rupena Dasyun Nyata Swaravayu Kala Rupena Sarvesham Bhavaya Prata Guna. In the form of Prajapati, Marichi, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, creates progeny becoming the king. He kills the thieves and rogues, and in the form of time, he annihilates everything. All the different qualities of material existence should be understood to be qualities of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sachin, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Stuyamano janere bhimaryaya namrupaya vimohitatma atma birnana darshanerna cha drishyati. People in general are bewildered by the illusory energy and therefore they try to find the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through various types of research and philosophical speculations. Nonetheless, they are unable to see the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Basically, what is being mentioned by the philosophical speculation, which a lot of people try to do, it doesn't get us to anywhere, right? It doesn't help us to see the Supreme Lord. Is what is mentioned here, right? Ajay?
Whatever actions and reactions take place for the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this material world are actually brought about by the Supreme Person. There are many varieties of philosophers trying to search for the ultimate cause under different names and forms, but they are unable to find the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna, who explains in Bhagavad Gita that he is the origin of everything and the cause of all causes, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavaha. This inability is due to the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. Devotees therefore accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is and remain happy simply by chanting the glories of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. He is the origin of everything. Adi and Adi, Sarva Karan, Karanam, cause of all causes. Nisha?
एतत् कल्पविकल्पस्य प्रमाणं परिकीर्तितं यत्र मन्वन्तराण्या पुश्चतुर्दश पुराविद. In one kalpa or one day of Brahma, there take place the many changes called vikalpas. O king, all of these have been previously described to you by me. Learned scholars who know the past, present, and future have ascertained that in one day of Brahma there are 14 Manus. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so we have, of course, discussed this again and again, right? The Kalp, what is a Kalp? Kalp is one day of Brahma, right? Is known as a Kalp. Etat Kalp Vikalpasya Pramanam Parikirtitam. Like we have read about those, and what is being mentioned is there are 14 Manus, which we have read, right? And we know the names of all the 14 Manus, right? What are the names of 14 Manus? Can you start with one?
Shambhu Manu first.
Shambhu.
Manu, yeah. Son of Shambhu, which is the Lord Brahma's son. Shambhu Manu is the first Manu. Then the second Manu is?
Vyavasvat.
No, the second. Vyavasvat Manu is the current Manu, which is the
Right.
seventh Manu. Right? But after Shambhu Manu is Swaruchisa. That's little difficult to remember, but Swaruchis. Manu. That's the second. Then
Uttama,
Uttam, then
Tamasa,
Tamasa is the fourth Manu, and they are sons of Tamasa and Uttam are sons of Priyavrat Maharaj, and Priyavrat Maharaj is son of whose son is Priyavrat Maharaj? Yeah, so Shambhu Manu. So Shambhu Manu's sons, they are two sons, Uttanpad Maharaj and Priyavrat Maharaj, if you remember. And we read about the whole descendancy of Uttanpad Maharaj. Like even Dhruv Maharaj, right, is a grandson of Uttanpad Maharaj. Then we are reading about Priyavrat Maharaj. And Tamas and Uttam is the other sons of Priyavrat Maharaj. Right? And then we have the fifth Manu, who is Revat.
Revat.
That's fifth Manu. And sixth Manu, we read a lot about the Samudra Manthan during sixth Manu Manthan.
Chakshush.
Yeah, Chakshush Manu, yeah, son of Chakshu. So, and then the seventh Manu, as we just talked about, is the Vivasvat Manu. Yeah, why he is called Vivasvat? Because he is son of
Sun God.
Sun God, yeah, Surya Dev. Surya Dev is known as Vivasvan Devta, and that is the son of Surya Dev is Vivasvat Manu, and then Vivasvat Manu has sons like Ikshasu, and you know, that's why we see in the Surya dynasty, Lord Ram appeared and things like that. So that's seventh Manu. Yeah, and this is the current Manu. Our current Manu is Vivasvat Manu. And then we know the names of next seven Manus also. And what's the name?
Savarni and
Savarni,
Daksha Savarni.
Daksha Savarni, then
Brahma Savarni.
Savarni,
Dharma Savarni.
Dharma Savarni, right? Then
Rudra Savarni.
Rudra Savarni, nice. And Dev Savarni, right? And Indra Savarni. So that's how the 14 Manus. So at least we know that there are 14 Manus. We know that we are in the 7th Manu Mantar, which means half day of Lord Brahma has passed in this particular kalp, right? In this particular day of Lord Brahma. And of course, so many yug cycles have passed, right? As we have read. So cool, and this ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 8th canto, 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The System of Universal Management, how Lord appears in various incarnations, how, you know, Indradev is appointed, how Manuvantars happen, all that, right? Hello, Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Yeah.
Okay, so still have some time, so we'll continue reading 15th Adhyay. And 15th Adhyay talks about Bali Maharaj again, right? And how Bali Maharaj conquers the heavenly planets. We have been reading about Devtas and demons, Yuddha, right? And then how even the Samudra Manthan happened and all that. Then we again read about the Yuddha between demons and Devtas, and then how Devtas won over, right? And again, we are continuing to read about Bali Maharaj, how he conquers the heavenly planets. So we'll start with Shloka 1, Leela.
Shri Rajovacha Bale Padatrayam Bhume Kasmadhari Rayachata Bhuteshwara Kripan Vallabdhartho Api Babandhatam Etad Veditumikkshamo Mahat Kautuhalam Hinah Yancheshwarasya Purnasya Bandhanam Chapya Nagasa. Maharaj Parikshit inquired, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the proprietor of everything. Why did he beg 3 pieces of land from Bali Maharaj like a poor man? And when he got the gift for which he had begged, why did he nonetheless arrest Bali Maharaj? I am very much anxious to know the mystery of these contradictions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking Sukadeva Goswami Ji is that if Supreme Personality of Godhead owns everything, right? He is the proprietor. I mean, he is the one who created this materialistic world. Even though all of us think, I own this land, I own this, all that, but ultimately he is the proprietor of everything. Then why did he has to beg from Bali Maharaj, right? We know all the story of Vaman Dev and Bali Maharaj, where he asks for the three um, three passage of land, right? 3 foods, and then we'll read about that story anyway. So Parikshit Maharaj wants to know more about that. Yeah, Sachin?
Sri Shukavacha Parajita Shrira Subhischa Hapito Hindrena Raja Rajan Phrugu Bhihi Sajivitaha Sarvatmana Tanu Bhajet Phrugun Balihi Shishyo Mahatmartha Nivedanena. Sukdev Goswami said, O king, when Bali Maharaj lost all his opulence and died in the fight, Shukracharya, a descendant of Bhrigu Muni, brought him back to life. Because of this, the great soul Bali Maharaj became a disciple of Shukracharya and began to serve him with great faith, offering everything he had. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so Bali Maharaj, of course, if you remember, we read about this, right? Like Shukracharya is the guru of all the demons. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, who is the guru of all devatas?
Brihaspati.
Brihaspati Maharaj, right? So like that, Shukracharya is guru of all demons, and he is a descendant of Bhrigu Muni. Yeah. So he brought him back to life. Yeah. After Parajit, right, after he lost, Saj Jivita hai. Shukracharya ji brought him back to the life. And then Shishyo Mahatma Nivedana. So then he started serving Shukracharya with great faith. Right? Tam Brahmana Brigava Priyamana Ayajanya Vishwajita Trinakam Jigishamanam Vidina Visishcha Mahabhishekena Mahanubhava. The Brahman descendants of Bhrigu Muni were very pleased with Bali Maharaj, who desired to conquer the kingdom of Indra. Therefore, after purifying him and properly bathing him according to regulatory principles, they engaged him in performing the yajna known as Vishwajit. Yeah, so they all start doing the yajna for Bali Maharaj, yeah, which is for Vishwajit. Anilji?
Tato Ratha Kanchana Pattanadho Hayashra Hayr Riturangar Varna Dhvajascha Singhen Birajamano Utasanadas Abhiristat. When ghee, clarified butter, was offered in the fire of sacrifice, there appeared from the fire a celestial chariot covered with gold and silk. There also appeared yellow horses like those of Indra and a flag marked with a lion. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so when the yajna was going on, there was a rath which came out, Kanchan, which is gold, right? And then also the horses came out, yeah, which were looking like those of compared to the one which Indra Dev also has. And the flag marked with the lion, yeah, Dvajascha Singhena Virajaman, also appeared from the yajna. Shravan Prabhu?
Yeah. Dhanush. Okay. So I bought books. So I'm trying to read from the books as well, physical books.
Sure, that's right.
Yeah. Dhanush Divyam Purto Pandvam Tuja Virikto Kavacham Cha Divyam Pita Mahastavasya Dadau Cha Mala Malan Pushpam Jalajam Cha Shukra. A gilded bow, 2 quivers of infallible arrows, and celestial armor also appeared. Bali Maharaj's grandfather, Prahalad Maharaj, offered Bali a garland of flowers that would never fade, and Shukracharya gave him a conch shell. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Pitamasta Shitadocha Maharaj. And then Shukracharya ji gave him a shank. Ajay?
एवं स विप्राजितयो धनार्थ स्तय कल्पित स्वरूसस यनो अथ विप्रन प्रदक्षिणीकृत्य कृत प्रणामः प्रहलाद मंत्र नमस्कार. When Maharaja Bali had thus performed a special ritualistic ceremony advised by the Brahmanas and had received by their grace the equipment for fighting, he circumambulated the Brahmanas and offered them obeisances. He also saluted Prahlad Maharaj and offered obeisances to him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
अथारुह्य रथम दिव्यम भृगुदंतम महारथः सुस्त्रधरो अथ सन्नय धन्वी खड्गी धृतेषुधिः हेमांगदल शब्दाहुः स्फुरन्म करकुण्डलः रराज रथमारूढो धिष्णयस्थ इव हव्यवात्. Then after getting on the chariot given by Shukracharya, Bali Maharaj, decorated with a nice garland, put protective armor on his body, equipped himself with a bow, and took up a sword and a quiver of arrows. When he sat down on the seat of the chariot, his arms decorated with golden bangles and his ears with sapphire earrings, he shone like a worshipable fire. Hare Krishna.
Class में भैया
Hmm?
तुल्यश्चर्य बल श्रीभिः स्वयूथैर्दैत्य यूथपे पिबद्भिरेव खं दृग्भिर्दहद्भिः परिधीनवः वृतो विकर्षन् महती मासुरीं ध्वजिनीं विभुः ययाविन्द्रपुरीं स्ववृद्धां कम्पयन्नेव रोदसे. When he assembled with his own soldiers and the demon chiefs, who were equal to him in strength, opulence, and beauty, they appeared as if they would swallow the sky and burn all directions with their vision. After thus gathering the demonic soldiers, Bali Maharaj departed from the opulent capital of Indra. Indeed, he seemed to make the entire surface of the world tremble. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is how Bali Maharaj again departs to fight with Indradev. Yeah. This Sachin.
रम्या मूपवनो ध्यानैः श्रीमभिर्नन्दनादिभिः कुजद्विहङ्गः मिथुनैर्गायन्मत्त मूधुव्रतैः प्रवालफलपुष्पो रुभारशाखाम रुद्रमयः. King Indra's city was full of pleasing orchards and gardens, such as the Nandan garden. Because of the weight of the flowers, leaves, and fruits, the branches of the eternally existing trees were bending down. The gardens were visited by pairs of chirping birds and singing bees. The entire atmosphere was celestial. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So what is being described is really King Indra's planet, right? The how and what was there. I think we'll pause here. And we'll continue reading about further describes how Indradev's place was and then what happens when Bali Maharaj is trying to conquer the heavenly planet. So we'll continue reading that. Very, very beautiful recitation. And this is, I think it's a final Somvar of Shravan today, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. So Shravan month is almost, getting over. So what we are going to do is we are going to hear the Shiv Mahima. And Shiv Mahima is almost 25, 26 minutes. So we'll hear that next 3 days. Yeah. So we'll hear like 7 to 8 minutes today and then tomorrow and on Wednesday. So this week we'll hear Shiv Mahima Strotam sung by again Ramesh Bhai Oja. Yeah. So we'll hear that for 7 to 8 minutes today. Hello, Shri Bhavan ki.
Yeah.
So we'll continue hearing Mahima, Shiv Mahima Strotam tomorrow and Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we will see you tomorrow at 9:30.
And Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.